Alrighty, so I wanted to do a video for, should you summon? Because honestly, this one is a little bit more interesting. I think a lot more people are going to be really wondering if they should be summoning for this character or not, because she's very interesting. This new Roxy comes out on Global tomorrow, or technically, as the time of this coming out, it should be sometime later tonight for me in my time zone. So obviously, just check check the patch notes if you don't already know, and you can kind of convert that over to your own time zone. But this new character is really interesting. Before we hop in, if you're new to the channel or anything, feel free to subscribe, because, I don't know, it's free. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. It's been a while since I've been like genuinely kind of excited for a character to come out that wasn't like a big like festival unit or something like that. I think the last one that I was pretty excited about was Scotty. And Scotty ended up being a little bit of a letdown on release. Like, I wasn't like super excited, or like I wasn't super happy with her performance. But then again, I was kind of looking at her more of a PvP unit back then, whereas she's a lot more of a PvE unit nowadays for sure. Not that you can't use her in PvP, of course, but she's very PvE oriented. Whereas this unit is pretty much good for anything. If you don't already know, her passive does work in all game modes, but she has to be on the field, of course, which is completely understandable because we'll go over how she works in just a moment. The big thing, though, is she does work very well in Demonic Beast as well. Obviously, she's not going to work super well in Nidhogg at the moment, because Nidhogg is very one team, or like one race team sort of oriented, and the human team doesn't really have a whole lot of great options for support with that game mode at the moment. Who knows, potentially in the future, possibly, but I've seen several videos so far of her working really well on the bird, the deer, the dogs, just just to show you a little bit of an example here. Here's Nagato's video of him beating phase 2 of floor 2 on the bird, which is the one where if you don't have a taunt unit, you normally can't get through it. But because you actually have that extra damage that she does, she's doing more damage than Escanor does with his card, because of the fact that, like, it deals additional damage depending on how much attack she has, if I'm not mistaken. Inflicts additional damage equal to 300% of the hero's attack at the start of the battle, which is crazy. You can kind of see, like, as she goes in, normally if you do a hit with Escanor, it's going to do the 30%, which is the normal damage cap, and then it's going to do just under another bar, another 10%. So it does roughly 39% if you hit a damage cap, which means that you can't necessarily just skip an entire card a lot of the times, because if you use one Escanor card, you're still going to have to use one more card that can get rid of that last little percent of HP to get rid of all of it, because he has a 30% damage cap. Whereas with this character, you can see right here, boom, it hits the extra damage, which is 66k on top of the damage cap, and it not only clears the 10%, but a little bit into it. I'd say that's maybe like an extra 13%, maybe 12%. Which is very impressive, honestly. Doing like that much extra damage on a damage cap is very nice. So you can basically, honestly, these two are just like a match made in heaven right now. If you run Roxy with the one Ultimate Escanor, they just go hand in hand. Absolutely fantastic. They're gonna make a lot more sense for like a really good running human team at the moment, which is kind of hard to find at the moment. Like, I mean, we obviously had a human team whenever Purgatory Bond was around, but it's been quite a while. He's been out of the meta for a couple of months now. I do see one every once in a while, but they never win. So I mean, they've just kind of been power crept because of all the new crazy units that have come out. So she genuinely has me excited. I think that she's a very fun looking character. Obviously, who knows, maybe I get my hands on her and I don't have as much fun as I thought I would, but I'll definitely keep you guys updated with how I feel about the unit as we get my hands on her. I'll show her off and everything, and kind of give you guys more opinions whenever I actually play with her. But if you don't know what she does, she's a very interesting character, very human-oriented, of course, because her passive increases the hero's crit chance by 40% for every human ally in battle. So luckily, I was really scared that they were going to make her a character that was going to just slot straight into the Catastrophe team, and if you weren't running Catastrophes, it was going to be a really bad time. But luckily, they went broad with it. They went more just human race in general, which is good, because I think the only character that's not human race from the Catastrophes is Camilla, I think, which it's not like we're missing a whole lot. That Camilla already gets completely shafted, so that kind of sucks. but it kind of just is what it is. Whereas, you know, you can run this character with any human in the game, which is very cool. So, other than that, it is if a critical strike occurs from a human ally's single target skill, so it has to be a single target, inflicts additional damage equal to 300% of the hero's attack at the start of the battle. I'm not exactly sure why it says at the start of the battle. I think it might just be like after the card goes off. I'm not sure. I'm still going to be waiting on the actual English translation for this one once we get the character on global, because I do want to see how they word this, but because it just doesn't seem right. That doesn't look like how it's working, but either way. And then at the parentheses here it says applies only 1 additional damage per skill. So I think this might override the scorch damage from Escanor. I'm not 100% sure on that. I haven't been paying too close of attention on how it works, but I'm definitely, like, once I get my hands on it, it'll be more of like a, hey, you know, this is what's happening, because I'm watching it happen in real time and everything. But her skills are pretty cool as well. She has a Flood single target card and a Spike AoE card. I think the Spike is probably the weaker of the 2 cards, of course, because Spike ends up getting a little bit power crept, just because later on down the line, who knows, maybe in like a year or so, maybe the characters are just power crept to the point to where they have so much crit resistance that you won't be able to crit as consistently with this Roxy. But as of the time of her release, all of the videos that I've watched, she basically hits like every single crit whenever she uses her Flood card, and I think she's pretty much hitting all of her crits with the Spike card as well, because I mean, not only does she have a base crit chance of 70%, but if you're running 3 humans on the field, that's an additional 120% on top of that, which is almost 200%, no, almost 300%. No, it's almost 200%, right? Yeah, math is hard. Anyway, Spike just, I think, will fall off a little bit more, unfortunately. Another thing that's really interesting is she has a bond. I think this might have been a typo. I don't know exactly if that's going to be the word for it whenever it comes out. But it's either a bond, or on the JP patch notes, it got translated to bond or unity. So I'm not 100% sure on what they're going to call it. I'm assuming it's going to be a bond. But her bond it's kind of like a grace. This is basically a new mechanic that I assume is just going to fit on certain characters. Who knows what the criteria for them to meet is for them to gain one, or for the devs to give them one, really. But she has one. This is the first one of its kind. So it increases the attack related stats of human characters with this bond effect by 3% all the way up to 10%. And unfortunately, it scales on the ultimate, which is really sucky. I hate that they do that every single time. Or like, not every single time. Obviously, graces don't scale like that, but a lot of stuff in this game is unfortunately tied to the ultimate level, which I hate to see it every single time it happens, but I guess it is what it is. It's nice, honestly. I think it's a cool mechanic. It is unfortunate that it's a little whale heavy. You want to get extra copies of the character if you can, so that way you can actually boost this up. But the fact that it's restricted to human allies, or like human characters only, so if you put this character as an associated link on anybody other than a human, they're not going to get that. But I think that that's kind of cool. I think it makes it a little bit less sought after, kind of, so where I'm not going to be like, oh man, I didn't get the Roxy, you know, 6/6. Oh well, I can't get 10%, you know, attack related stats on my human allies, because first of all, there's not a whole lot of human allies in general that are like actually good in the meta at the moment. So maybe it'll be more sought after later on down the line. But who knows? It just doesn't really seem like all that crazy. I mean, 10% attack related stats is good, but it's not that crazy. I mean, it's a good you know, bonus boost, whatever you want to call it. So I guess it's nice to have it if you end up getting a couple of extra copies of her. That's awesome, but I'm not gonna go out of my way. I never do. But she does also have a Sever Ultimate, which is a single target, which is a little bit weird. It's really it's always weird for me to see single target ultimates nowadays, because I mean, single target ultimates are basically gonna be guaranteed to kill like any character on the field, but with a lot of the festival characters and stuff like that we get nowadays, they have AoE ultimates that basically one-shot the entire team if you get it off. So here's the scaling, of course, on the ultimate. It is, or on the bond, it is 3%, 4%, 5%, 6%, 8%, and then 10%. Respectively for the levels, so obviously the damage on that goes up as well. The banner, I've seen a lot of people say that this is a really good banner. I don't necessarily think this is a really good banner. I think this is a good banner. I think it's an okay banner. It's not bad by any means, but there's a lot of, you know, OC characters, like a lot of these old school catastrophes that you're never going to get any use out of. You pull this green Lilia, you're not going to be jumping for joy. You're not going to hit your head on the roof like because you got so excited that you pulled her or anything like that. She's literally been basically useless since she came out. So I don't know. That's I mean that's just one example, of course, but I don't know. Just a couple of these characters are not really great. It feels a little bit clogged, unfortunately. I kind of wish they would have slimmed it down just a little bit, but it is nice that they threw a couple of extra Ragnarok characters in here. Of course, a lot of people are considering this to be a bait banner, and I can agree. I think that this is a little bit of a bait. There's a lot of potential for them to be doing a collaboration very soon, and if it's an AOT collab, you might want to have this character because a lot of the AOT collab characters are humans, so I think they might just be setting up for it along with baiting people's gyms out as well, which is really weird to think about, and it's kind of unfortunate how they always end up doing stuff like this, but, you know, at the end of the day, it is a business. They're trying to make money. I don't know, man. It's I don't want to say she's like a must-have character or anything, but if you want to run humans, I think that she's a very essential part to what the team is going to need going forward at the moment. Obviously, you could just run, you know, Escanor with like just crazy support, you know, Ludo, Escanor, or not Escanor, Ludo and Gother to just do rank up, big damage, whatever you want to do there. But I think that she's going to help out a lot as far as like the meta around human teams goes. I think she's going to really help shape that. And like I said, if you new AOT characters come out, you're probably going to end up slotting them in with this Roxy as well, because she's just so good, actually. So the fact that she works out really well on not only PvP but demonic beasts in general, and all of the other you know, PvP or PvE stuff in the game is pretty easy, pretty trivial a lot of the time, so it's not like you're going to need her for that stuff, but she seems like a really fun character. I'm actually really excited. I don't want to say she's a must summon, but I think if you have any intentions on running humans, or if you just like Escanor, or hey, you want some extra support, not that you really need it, I think if you're an end-game player and you're doing really well on the demonic beasts already, you probably could just go ahead and skip her. It's not going to help you that much, especially if you're focusing on goddesses or demons right now in PvP. But if not, if you want to switch it up, maybe run humans, or just get a little bit, you know, extra, you know, support or faster runs or whatever when it comes to the demonic beasts, the older ones at least, not Nidhogg, she's probably going to be really, really nice to have. So that's basically where I'm at with it. If you guys have any other opinions or thoughts on the character or anything like that, definitely let me know down below. But that is it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you in the next one.